Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio. We're your hosts, Jai Lynn and Lamont McPheron.
We are all in this
together. Howdy, y'all.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
Coming at you.
Another week has passed. It's been pretty lovely. Hot up here in Wisconsin. But loving it. Love the humidity.
That's good.
Yeah. He's Monte.
Yeah, she's Jai Lynn.
And we like to talk with our hearts
So why
wide
don't you
open.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
About
Jai
me?
Lynn, yeah.
Okay.
Who are you?
I am a lady, human,
You are.
female human.
Eternal soul
Eternal
within your body.
Heck yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And I like
Okay.
to focus on that.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
good.
this is just my vehicle I walk around in.
Yeah, that's
I feed
right.
it good fuel and
Yeah,
try
try
to-
to.
plug it in at night
What about that supercomputer on your head? Do you feed that good fuel too?
as best as I can. As
Mm-hmm.
best as I can. I limit my social media apps to 30 minutes a day.
How's that been working?
Mostly good. Mostly good.
I've been trying that too, but I don't know. Been kind of like cheating a little bit.
Yeah, because you can ignore limit for 15 minutes and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you're 45 minutes and
And
then
you
you
ignore
do
it
it again
again.
and then it's an hour.
At least we're trying.
Yeah, I think that it's helpful because we have to consciously click ignore limit.
Well, yeah, and I want to say I'm fresh off a 1 week Facebook fast.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it once for an entire week. And
What did you want to say about yourself?
I'd say I am a soul within this body as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I try and see myself that way, and I try and see everybody that way, essentially. And that means everybody,
Yeah.
all politicians, all criminals, all whatever, you know. I mean, we all got issues, but we're all like essentially divine beings,
Yeah.
you know, soulful beings, magical beings, incredible beings, incredible manifesting beings, every one of us,
Yeah.
you know, and we all have different, you know, philosophies and
In different stages of our own personal evolutions.
right. We've gone through different traumas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so we are
Absolutely.
different. We have different perspectives on things, but no matter where our minds are at, you know, as far as like being agitated or being angry or being loving or whatever, you can't take away the reality that we're all soulful beings and we're all essentially in this together, and we're all,
Yeah.
you know, like I've heard you say, we're walking each other home
Yeah, I
through
love
this kind of
that.
like, yeah, and just keeping it in mind that 100 years goes by like a flash of lightning anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting too caught up in the material, just reality that Facebook presents or that the news presents or that, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
take that. I definitely take that with a grain of salt. But the thing is, for me, if I look at it too much, it like irritates me. 'Cause I'm like, man, these people are manipulating, you know, whatever the 0.0000001% is really working on like getting us to fight amongst ourselves, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like,
I find great reprieve. Is that the right word? Or refuge?
yeah,
I find great refuge in the idea of the Aquarian age and the planets and the divine beings helping us get back to homeostasis. Homeostasis is the optimal functioning of a being.
So we're at that point, we're being in harmony with nature, living on this planet.
Yeah,
If we
living
were-
with each other.
If we were in homeostasis.
Yeah, exactly.
And what you're saying is perhaps we're destined to get there because the universe, this force is on our side.
Yeah.
You know, we just have to hook into that,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Have to trust it. Have faith.
and then
Faith is
voila,
huge.
we can evolve.
In the Bhagavad Gita, they'd say that everyone has faith. But what is that faith in?
Money. I have faith in money.
Well,
I'm just
that's
kidding.
very
Well,
Rajas
kind
of
of.
you.
Righteous.
Yeah, no, Rajas.
Rajas.
So Tamas is the confused, inert, ignorant place of evolution. And the faith is in ghosts and spirits. And the Rajas is kind of powerful, and they have faith in material.
Oh, I was half kidding, by the way.
Right, but I'm just sharing.
Just saying.
And then the Sattva people, the Sattvic people, have faith in the divine creator and the universe, the stars, the higher intelligences that are inside of each one of us, no matter
angels,
who we are.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I have faith in my angels.
Yeah.
Me
too.
So I guess I'm a mixture of all that.
Yeah.
I mean, we
all are a mixture. Well,
yeah, I would say
that's not true. I guess in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that some of us are like, you can't have rajas unless you've evolved out of tamas some. And you can't have sattva if you haven't evolved out of rajas.
Okay, I think you just probably lost everybody because those terms are easy for you to understand.
Okay, right. But
point just being, boil it down, yeah.
We are a mix of all of them sometimes if we're working on evolving.
Well, we're raised in a materialistic culture, but we strive to be spiritually minded.
Yeah. Well, we do. And there we have our tribe out there. Our Mindflow radio tribe is definitely
high vibe,
working on themselves in some aspect.
Yeah.
And I would say would be my offering to maybe describe it. And one of the really bad things that you can do to a human is isolate them. And what happened in this country and all over the world a couple months ago is we were all sent home and told to isolate and stay in separate bedrooms from your spouse, and all this stuff that
wear a mask
everywhere.
While you're doing it.
Yeah. Just like we're human.
That's why I can't.
And we are meant to not be isolated. We are meant to be in community.
Well, I do want to say, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, or I believe it was Thoreau, said that, he was alone, but he felt very connected when he would go outside and look at the stars.
Yeah. So some people can be more isolated and be healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If we can connect with nature, connect with the higher power, perhaps, connect with your angels, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to explain this global trauma we're experiencing. So in the sense of being sent home, where we have to work from home, we have to raise our kids from home, our kids can't go to school. There's just this whole sense of fear.
Yeah.
A lot of fear, and it really was causing serious trauma. And then all of a sudden, some people stood up and some bad things happened to some people, and they went out and were rajas. So the tamas was the isolation state.
You're saying the lockdown added to all the craziness of the riots and whatnot, the protests,
and those
and how they got
are
all
representation
wild and crazy,
of rajas energy.
Yeah,
it's just kind of chaotic. Things are getting burnt down, and
more
violence is happening because of violence, and as if one violence is different than another violence, and where's the sattva? The sattva is the people that kind of see the interplays of energy, honor them as they are, and don't participate in them, and also work on themselves, because ultimately the best way to change the vibration of our culture is to heal our own personal traumas. Even though it's a global trauma and we're all interconnected, we are also individual. And that's why we are here, is to have an individual experience. So that's my little explanation of Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva, putting it into current events.
I kind of get it. I don't understand the words still, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, you say we need to heal our personal trauma.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What are you saying?
Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge our trauma. So at one point I had this acronym that I was really digging, and I called it OATT, O-A-T-T. Or was it A-A-T-T? Yeah. So observe. You have to be able to observe.
That's being mindful.
Yep. Being mindful.
Mindfully observing, which is from a scientific, neutral perspective. Observing what?
Yeah.
Your
So
mind?
say that you observe
Yeah.
that there are 3 kinds of tree outside the window. But you have to acknowledge what you just observed. So acknowledging is the next step after you observe.
So how about I observe a really negative thought in my mind, and then I acknowledge that I just had a really negative, like hateful thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being able to acknowledge it rather than to actually do the knee-jerk reaction of blame.
Yeah.
So instead of the knee-jerk reaction, you acknowledge like, oh, wow, I had a pretty hateful thought there.
Yeah.
So then you have to accept what you just did.
Okay.
So accepting yourself for who you are is a difficult task for most of us. And so accepting, oh, wow, I had a hateful thought and I'm going to be okay with that and try to work on that from where I am versus regret it. So then you accept it. And then you train. And training in yoga is called tapas. Okay. And you have to train. You can't just wish something away.
Yeah.
You can't just deny it exists. You have to train. And once you've trained, you transcend that habit. And that's OAT.
Oh, wow.
The OAATD.
And then that helps us overcome trauma. Because a lot of our hateful thoughts are, the foundation of those thoughts perhaps are based in some traumas we've had.
Exactly.
You know, and if we just get caught up in just like having those thoughts over and over and over and over and just going into blame, like you said, then it never stops.
Right.
Then we get all caught up.
And sick.
Yeah, right. Well,
Seriously,
we're unhealthy. We're out of balance.
Yeah. It's
the hateful vibration is not a healthy vibration.
Here's another example, just because it went through my mind.
Yeah.
We plugged in all this stuff into our computer. We're trying to do all this fancy stuff, figure out how to make a cool video. And we got all this stuff plugged in, and all of a sudden the computer is really hot. That's our brain thinking really hard. It gets really hot. If you don't stop and unplug something, what's going to happen? You're going to break down. You're going to overheat the brain. You're going to get sick. Going to injure something.
Well, a mental breakdown
hurt somebody.
Can look like even it can sink into depression then, or if my
Panic
brain
attack.
is overworking and hot, and just if I have no peace, then I could express that through like hurting somebody, or hurting something, or breaking something, or whatever. I mean, to me, that's like you're describing self-righteous anger. I mean, where we're just like overwhelmed by like our agitated mind, and then we excuse ourselves by saying, "Oh, well,
oh right,
it's healthy being angry because I have self-righteous anger," and then you have all your reasons.
Self-righteous anger. I think they say righteous anger.
No, this is self-righteous anger.
Really?
Yeah, it's self-righteous.
How is self-righteous anger
it's the
different
same
than
thing.
anger?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
All I know is people like love that and they cling to it. You know, like the one of the memes I've been seeing for years actually is, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Like all woke people are angry, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. We can transcend that. We can take the quantum leap to the next level of, if there's disturbing things out there in our culture, let's change them, but let's change them for the better. Let's create a new culture.
Right.
We can do that.
To do that, first thing first,
Yeah.
you have to train yourself. And this is
Yeah,
where
that's true.
I just want to give some words to those who have maybe been attacked for not being angry and trying to be mindful. And I would like to say, if you have at all been attacked and said that you're being passive, just finding in yourself the strength to explain how unpassive being mindful is. It takes so much training. It takes so much effort
it's not
to
passive
stop
at
yourself from being angry. It takes so much effort to take away your personal judgments and see the big picture.
Yeah, right.
It takes so much effort
That's
to
being
not
mindful.
be biased.
Right.
So it is not passive
No, it's not.
at all. It is very much effort and active. And once you succeed at that, that's when you can start changing the culture.
Right.
Right?
Well, it definitely helps because you're more clear-minded at that point, and you're more, like you said, you're looking at the entire picture, and you're coming up with creative solutions as to how to change things for the better.
Yeah.
You know, and there are definitely ways we could make humanity, the culture of humanity be much more in harmony with each other and the world, you know, and we can do that, but having mental clarity is a big step in that direction. Yeah. Balance, equanimity. You know, the big movers and shakers are the ones who have equanimity, not the people who are freaking out.
Yeah.
Yelling and screaming, you know, whatever.
Well, some people present as equanimous, and really you have to look at the message they're giving and what is there, there's a word that I can't think of at the moment, but who's gaining something from the speech? You know, like if somebody is saying, if you don't follow me, then you are against humanity.
Yeah.
Then who's gaining something out of it? They're gaining followers who will be judgmental against anyone who's not following them.
Yeah.
And that right there, they can appear equanimous. They can appear compassionate and loving to all who follow them.
Yeah.
But are they? Because if you're truly equanimous, you see all 7 billion people as equal.
Yeah, right.
You see all of us as worthy of accepting where we are at in the moment of our personal evolution. And this was a huge aha moment for me yesterday because I've had words with some very rajasic people who, like you said, feel that I should be angry.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there eating my dinner last night. I think I even mentioned it to you. I was like, oh my gosh, if I am truly to be mindful, I have to accept rajasic people as actually being evolved, because they've evolved out of the inertia. They've evolved out of the mud. They're being active. They're attempting to make change.
Yeah.
So how can I judge that?
Right. No, I mean, anybody who's attempting to change things is they're doing something at least.
Yeah. But as soon as they turn their finger and point blame, it hurts their own attempt at making change.
Yeah. I mean, and we just have to look within ourselves and see where our minds are at. And if we're being judgmental towards other people, groups of people, etc., you know, we're not really being mindful at that point. And I would suggest that if we really do want to make the world a better place, we need to just be less judgmental and more discerning. And ultimately, too, if we're used to being judgmental and pointing fingers at other people and calling them names and etc., then when we make a mistake, we do the same thing to ourselves. And that's something people don't understand is, you know, we're a culture full of people that are walking around with just horrendous negative self-talk. You know, we each have a playlist that just runs in our mind. You know, and
samskara.
Well, and if this playlist, is like full of judgment for others, it gets reflected back at us by ourselves because our mind is in the habit of being that way.
Yeah.
And so, and then if we're walking around with a bunch of negative self-talk, then our esteem, I mean, it's just horrible for our mental health. And it's a crisis in our culture.
It really is.
Essentially. I mean, in the media, the TV has sort of implanted those messages into all of our minds ever since we were like super young. You know, you need to look this way. You need to have this stuff. If you're successful, you need this, act this way, be this way. Otherwise,
walk this way, talk this way.
And so it's like work on like eroding our self-esteem, you know, and you know,
exactly.
It's like,
and
oh,
if
I'm
you
not
don't
that
have
good. My
self-esteem,
car is like, I drive a Prius. I'm not very cool. You know, and that's me. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just so we have all this to work against, and we need to like rewrite the playlist of self-talk in our minds.
Yeah,
and that gets back to training. If you're not willing to train, you're going to be stuck with the same playlist for the next 50 years. Or whatever the next like negative meme comes out on Facebook, maybe you'll add that to your playlist, you know, whatever. But I mean, if we're really going to look at things, if we're really even going to notice our self-talk, we need to be mindfully watching our thinking. And then we notice, oh, boy, that was I just said a really negative thing about myself to myself. It's like,
yeah. And
I want to change that. That's where change begins, right? And then we begin to like become empowered over our own self-talk, and then we begin to love ourselves more, right? And then we begin to love others more. Yeah. We begin to judge ourselves less, judge others less, and then we're on the path.
Right. We can see the whole picture.
Oh, we could change the world. Let's put gardens everywhere, you know, or whatever, you know. Yeah. Oh, in 20 years, let's have all electric vehicles made out of hemp, you know, something like that. I mean, and we can do that as humanity. We have the technology now to do all that stuff if we can just let go of our judgments. Yeah. And that essentially means letting go of the judgments of ourselves. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah,
that was a monologue.
Here. That was a monologue. So I just want to bring in. We're talking. I just want to keep going with that theme of the three energies of inertia, chaotic energy, and kind of rising above that. And I want to share that fear and anger truly are the same animal. They just have different branches because they're natural. They're natural for our nervous system to react in fear and anger. Yeah. Fear is the flight part of the nervous system, and anger is the fight part. Fear would also be the freeze part. Yeah. But these are natural, supernatural. We're not saying don't ever be afraid or don't ever be angry. It's again, rising above it and going, oh, I'm really afraid right now. Yeah. Oh, I'm really angry right now. What is the threat around me? And how do I neutralize the threat? Am I safe in this moment? Yeah. Am I safe in this moment? If I'm not, then heck yeah, fight and flight. Whatever you got to do to get out of that situation. If you're truly in danger, if you're not in danger, you have time to bring yourself back to neutral. Yeah. So you're saying finding balance, not being overwhelmed by fear and anger. Yeah. And not being like, those are really bad. Don't ever have those. It's practically impossible. It is a part of our it's natural biology to have fight and flight. I mean, perhaps let's just work against clinging to those. Yes, let's not perpetuate them. Yeah. Continuously. Yeah, every through day. Our thoughts. Right. It's throughout the day. Truly harmful. Throughout the day. It's truly harmful. It is. To the biology. The adrenals will wear out. The mind, the chemicals will become imbalanced. It's inevitable. Right. I mean, that is also a part of the biology. We were meant to fight or flight. Make that decision now. Yeah. I'm not safe now. Boom. Let's do this. Mm-hmm. Now we stay in that for hours. A lot of people do. Yeah, for sure. I have. I mean, even I have, you know. For sure. And I work against it the best I can. Yeah. But it's natural, but it's not natural. This is a phenomena of our modern world. It's true. You know, and one way we can find more balance is to have balance with our screen time. Let's be choosy
and moderate with what we're like looking at
Yeah.
on our screens and and if our Facebook feed is full of anger and hatred and yada yada, maybe we shouldn't spend that much time on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it too, like arguing with people on Facebook, people essentially never change their minds, essentially.
Not in that way. I think there has to be a real human connection to actually affect change. And that's another reason why I don't think it's going to happen through Facebook, because we are in that, usually, that state of isolation when we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Even if we're sitting next to our partner, Monte and I can be like sitting next to each other on our Facebooks, and he might say something to me and I don't know what he just said, and I might say something to him and he didn't hear me, and that's just how it is. This is our modern world. We voluntarily isolate ourselves into this chaos that messes with our brain, messes with our dopamine.
It's funny too, because if you're like looking at the screen, I say something to you and you don't hear me, I'll just be like, oh well. I mean, I'm just like, oh, this again. All right, I'll let it go. I guess I'll look at Facebook too.
Yeah, I know. Same. That's like exactly what we do. And it's like, okay, that 30-minute limit's going to come up soon. Oh, man. All right. So let's think of a tip. Okay. What comes to me is I really, really want to share a little story about. So I've been really loving the Bhagavad Gita. I just feel that now is such a prime time to dive into this text, because it is about the internal battle and how to come out on the other side. And
nice.
I'm listening to it on an audiobook, and then I read 2 different versions, and then I'll reread some of it to Monte out loud. So I've at least read it 4 times. And it's really affecting me in a very deep way and helping me to understand people where they're at, accept them where they're at without judgment. I'm actually losing my judgment. It's very cool. And
sweet.
I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, and I still have that moment. But one of the things that I thought was so interesting is I was like, in my mind, I was just driving and I was like, Om Tat Sat. I don't need another mantra. So for anyone who knows me, I am chanting a lot. And I have all these different chants. And Om Tat Sat is not one that I've done before, but I do know it's an ancient.
What's it mean?
It means I am that truth.
Okay.
And that truth, the truth being beyond any opinion. It's the ultimate. And so I'm like, oh yeah, Om Tat Sat. I don't need another mantra. And it comes up again a few days later, and just like this in my head, Om Tat Sat. And I'm like, what? What is this? And then I'm reading the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and he says that Vishnu says, the best way to make your offerings, to offer every action you have, everything you eat, everything you drink, every action you have, every conversation, every sadness, every joy, offer it to the divine so that you can release your karma. And he says, say Om Tat Sat. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just started laughing. I was like, wow. Okay. So back to the tip. This is my suggestion. If you inhale and in your mind, you say Om Tat Sat. And as you exhale in your mind, say Om Tat Sat, Om Tat Sat. So inhale 1 Om Tat Sat, exhale 2 Om Tat Sats. And I will do my best to just slowly say Om Tat Sat. You definitely would want to do your best to slow it down to 2 seconds a syllable if you can. So inhale Om Tat Sat. Exhale Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Inhale Om Tat Sat. Sat. Inhale, Om Tat Sat. Exhale, Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. Inhale, Om Tat Sat. Exhale, Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat. And then you continue that as long as you need to. It has been scientifically studied and what's the word that you say? Indicated?
It indicates what?
That doubling your exhale quickly brings you back to center, quickly takes the fight or flight out of the system. So that is my tip.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, Om Tat Sat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you enjoy that one. Try it for the week if you can. And as always, I would have to say that you try it when you're feeling good regularly, and then it'll be there for you when you need it. And send in a lot of love out there. I just want to appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening to Mindflow Radio. We really just honestly want to share. We want to share what we've learned on our journey. And if it resonates, if it feels good, if you start to feel the benefit, we're very grateful to be of service to your awakening, to your vibration ascending above any suffering. Suffering is a choice. Pain is not always a choice.
I mean, we all suffer some, but let's just suffer less.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're less judgmental and more mindful, we're going to suffer less, and we're going to create more amazing things in this world. And we have the power to do that because we're amazing, manifesting, magical beings, each of us, every one of us. And let's do this. Let's create a better world for ourselves and our family and our tribe.
Yeah.
And everyone.
Mm-hmm.
For global
7 billion
community.
People in our tribe.
Yeah.
So spread the word by
all amazing.
Your example of love and light.
Yeah.
Sending out compassion, understanding for ourselves and others.
Indeed.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana, Ishvara to the source of creation. I surrender to the source of creation. I surrender to the source of creation. I surrender to the source of creation. Thank you for your presence. You've been listening to Mindflow Radio. You can support Mindflow Radio on Patreon and get exclusive content access. Big gratitude to Lotus Head for their mindful music, keeping us in the flow. A shout out to our sponsors, Integrated Mindfulness Institute. Online, visit www.imi.earth. For ideas, questions, or comments, contact us by email, connect@imi.earth. Many blessings on our health and peaceful evolution. We are all in this together.